The ceasefire shall enter into force within few hours, and it was signed in Jeddah by both the military and the rapid support forces. And for the first time, this ceasefire is monitored by a team. This team includes 3 members of the military and 3 members of the rapid support forces rivals, and also 3 members from the United States and other 3 members from Saudi Arabia. On the ground, people reacted to it. They have different reactions to the news about the ceasefire. Some people are so hopeful that it will last because there is a monitoring team, but other people are skeptical because on the ground there is still fighting in some places around the military headquarters and around the air base in Khartoum, Durman, which is controlled by the military, but RSF tried to control it one day ago, and there is still some fighting in Eastern Nile. So the ceasefire right now will enter into force within a few hours, and we shall keep our eyes on it and see if there is any violations or people or the 2 warring factions will respect it this time in order to help people and humanitarian aid delivery for hundreds of thousands of people who are still in the capital, Khartoum.
Keen to hear about the concessions that were made by either side in the ceasefire that has been signed, because we have seen previous ceasefires that have not been, that certainly haven't held, right? So what are the concessions that were made this time?
Actually, there is open scenarios. Yes, this ceasefire may be respected because, as I mentioned before, for the first time there is a monitoring team, but also there is expectations, and especially by analysts, they are expecting one of the warring factions will not adhere to it and will violate it. Especially, there is still fighting around controlling the presidential palace and the air base, and also there is other issue is the loose security and the active criminal activities and looting in Khartoum, in the capital specifically. So there is open scenarios. We don't know whether the 2 warring factions will respect it or will adhere it, but there is great hopes that it will last this time, because it's not like the past 7 ceasefires, as it's monitored by international community, especially the United States and Saudi Arabia, and also the main target of it, or the main goal, is for delivery of humanitarian aid and also restoring main services like water and power and medicine for hundreds of thousands of people in the capital.
Yeah, describe what a day in Khartoum is like for those that are in Khartoum, unable to get out. I mean, you talk about the need for humanitarian aid, the need for water to be restored. So one can imagine just how harrowing the situation is. And then, of course, the reports that even for the injured, there is no medical support. Describe just, you know, what a day for a citizen in Khartoum really looks like at this point.
Actually, people in Khartoum are suffering a lot in all aspects. They are suffering water shortages, power outages, and lack of food, medicine, and above all, the security situation is really bad. So it's not only about the fighting and airstrikes and bombings, but also it's about looting, and armed groups, unknown armed groups, and thieves are attacking offices, buildings, houses, killing everyone in their way and looting everything, including cars, properties. They are robbing banks, and they are robbing even governmental institutions and embassies. So the situation is really bad, and people cannot move from their houses unless they are in groups, and they are suffering about getting even life necessities like food and medicine. They move in groups. There is also skyrocketing prices of everything, and there is a scarcity of food and medicine. Everything is doubled right now. The prices of fuel are doubled, the prices of food are doubled, so people are suffering. But some of people cannot even go from the capital Khartoum, and they can't flee for their own reasons, including the unsafe roads. The roads are unsafe, and also they are fearing the looting and killing of other criminal groups, as I mentioned before. Some people, they have elderly people in their houses, and they can't move to safer places. and some people, they don't have money because banks are still closed and mobile applications, electronic payments and commercial applications are still closed and shut down because the telecommunications are still sporadic. So the situation is really bad in Khartoum, the humanitarian situation, and also in other states, because there is overpopulation, there is scarcity, there is lack of food and medicine, and there is hundreds of thousands of malnourished children. They are facing real threat of losing their life, and there is already 50 children, they lost their life in 2 states in Sudan. So the situation is really dire and catastrophic, and it's getting worse and worse every day.
That's really quite worrying, and one would hope that aid is able to come in so that people are able to get some reprieve there in Khartoum. Just lastly, Naba, I think there's a lot of questions around what the death toll is looking like at this point. I know that there are numbers coming from the World Health Organization, but the view is that death toll may be a lot worse. I mean, what are the numbers that you are getting from the ground in Khartoum on the death toll and the number of those who have been injured? Are there official lines for that?
Sorry, I was not able to hear your question because of the sporadic telecommunication. If you can just repeat it for me again.
No problem. The question I had asked is what you have as the official death toll and the number of those injured.
The death toll right now exceeded 700 generally in Sudan, and in Khartoum and in Darfur only there is more than 500 people killed. And also the Ministry of Health and other organizations, they can't right now access all of the areas in order to have fresh records of casualties and killed people, because every day we are losing tens of people. And also there is a bigger threat, which is tribal conflicts in 3 regions in Sudan, in Western Darfur, Al Junaina, and in northern Kordofan, and also in central Sudan in Kosti. So the records right now are above 700, but I believe that the numbers is way higher than this number, and there is more than 5,000 people are injured in Khartoum and in other states. The situation is deteriorating every day, and the number of people and the death toll is increasing every day. And the other issue is there is a border crisis. Hundreds of thousands of people are awaiting their role in borders with Egypt, with South Sudan, with Eritrea, with Ethiopia, and with Chad, and they are living very vulnerable situation, and some people are losing their life because they don't have medicine and food. So the situation is dire, and the death toll is increasing every day.
Yeah, Naba, thank you so much for giving us your time, and we hope that you stay safe as well. Thank you for bringing us the latest. That's our SABC News correspondent speaking to us from Khartoum in Sudan, Naba Mohiedeen.